Bitcoin still stuck just above 6,000, and that's got market watchers worried that the crypto is about to reach its breaking point. Bob Pisani is breaking it down from the NYSE. Hi, Bob.
Hello, Melissa. Cryptos are having a tough time bouncing back from a really deep funk. Now, Bitcoin posted modest declines today, but it's been a disastrous month for the digital currency. It's down about 18%. That's just this month. Not only is there a straight line downtrend in place for most of this year, you see that there, but we are near, again, that psychologically important 6,000 level. There was huge volume the last time it very briefly broke that barrier in the early part of February. Now, cryptos have continued to fall this week despite what some say has been good news. Today, for example, Facebook reversed its ban on crypto ads. Some thought that would help cryptos, but the response has been pretty modest. And on Monday, Tether issued 250 million tokens. That was just 2 days ago. And some, including Litecoin founder Charlie Lee, said this in the past has been a precursor for prices to go up of other cryptocurrencies. That's not happening either. So on balance, the bad news has far outweighed the good news. And I think that's the most important thing here. Last week, Bitcoin fell 6% in one day after Japan's financial regulator ordered several cryptocurrency exchanges to improve their practices against money laundering, against terrorist financing, and against unauthorized access. And who could blame the Japanese authorities? There were 2 break-ins at two different South Korean exchanges last week. And that's been a real blow to security and confidence overall. They've got to get their hands around that one. Back to you, Melissa.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Bob Pisani. Well, our next guest says Bitcoin is stuck in no man's land, and there's one key level it needs to pass for a real comeback to happen. Let's head off the charts with Fundstrat's Robert Sluymer. Robert, what are you looking at?
Great. Thanks, Melissa. So let's take a look at the chart. I think there's some key points here. If we go back to the action that we've seen through the late part of 2017 and 2018, going all the way back through 16, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, whoops, higher lows here. Then we come into this point here, right around 7,000, which is a very critical low. And the last time we were on the show, we were talking about 7,000 being very, very critical support. We're big fans of the 15-day moving average as a proxy for trend. We can see all the way through the late 2017 through 18. It's not perfect, but as a proxy for whether the trend is positive or negative, it's pretty good. And that was one of the reasons when we talked about this 7,800 level being a very critical resistance level that Bitcoin had to get through in order to reverse that downtrend. And that 7,000 was very important on the downside, because what we have now is a series of higher lows being broken. And by definition, you're now starting to see lower highs. You have a downtrend in place. And again, Bitcoin's now below that trend line. This level here, right around 6,000, 5,800 is absolutely critical support. A break of that, I think it takes Bitcoin down to 5,500, and that takes you all the way back to that trading range in here between 5,000 and 5,500. Now, let's take a look at the shorter term chart. These downtrends, again, this takes us back to the beginning of May. This is the May-June downtrend. That's the 15-day moving average represented on a 4-hour chart. And here again, that's that 7,000 level, or 7,800 level that was so important. And that critical support level, first at 7,500, then at 7,000, that's broken. So now what? What do you do? It really is a no man's land from a trading standpoint. I think if you're a very short-term trader, we have a critical stop level right here. That's just around that 5,800, 6,000 level. And then the key resistance level that I think Bitcoin has to get through is around the 15-day moving average. That's 63 to 6,400. If it can rally through that, I think you've got a chance that Bitcoin is going to start to turn. Until then, the downtrend's intact. You have to respect that downtrend. You got to wait for confirmation from a price standpoint before implementing long side trades.
Should we invite Robert over to the desk? I'm asking you the question.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Come on over, Robert. You're not answering me, so I'm deciding. Robert, come on over.
Of course.
Michelle, bring the chair in.
Meanwhile, he's talking about Bitcoin in limbo. We left him in limbo, Robert.
I know.
Right.
I asked you guys.
I left. It's my fault.
No, she did.
Crickets here on the desk.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Michelle, for bringing the chair over. Okay, so it has to rally. Bitcoin has to rally through 63 or 6,400 in order to move higher. How convincing does that rally have to be in terms of volume, in terms of how sharply it goes up?
I think it's a sustained move. I'm not sure the volume is particularly important given what we see on the indexes. I think you made the point last time, it's hard to see where those volumes are. But I think if we think about what is happening, we have a downtrend. What defines a change in trend? First, you have to bottom. Momentum has to turn positive. Trend has to reverse, and that trend has to turn positive. And that 15-day needs to turn back up. So at this point, we're just seeing recovery rallies back to the 15-day, down to the downtrend, or back to the downtrend, and it's failing. So I'd like to see it get at least through that 15-day moving average before I have confidence that you're actually seeing another tactical shift in Bitcoin.
Is there any significance to the 6,000 level? Because it seems to sort of be holding there.
Well, it's the February lows. I think the number is 5,800, at least on my charts. So maybe 6,000 is an important round number, but I think 5,800 is really the key line in the sand.
Is Tom Lee also at Fundstrat, your colleague, maybe your boss? Does he still have 25K as his year-end target for Bitcoin?
That's the year-end target. We're coming up to our half-year.
Do you see that in the charts?
I had that at the beginning of the year.
Right, but do you see that now?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think Tom's made a very good argument why most altcoins are in purgatory into the latter part of the year. We're seeing that. If you look at Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, all of those are coming down to test their April lows. That's still above where, I mean, Bitcoin's broken that level, but the other ones are still holding at that key support level.
So you guys have created a great index, actually, to look at Smile Index. Where are we now? What's the reading on that now? Is it the worst it's ever been?
It's pretty ugly.
Yeah.
And I think if you think about the sentiment that you hear either on Twitter or folks, it's pretty nasty out there. People are pretty unhappy. So.
We play this game here on the desk.
Which one?
We say, if we showed you this chart,
yes, I was thinking the same game.
Were you thinking the same thing?
Yes.
We're so inside each other's heads sometimes.
So play it.
Okay, so no. So I will. I don't want to know what he thinks. I want to know what Robert thinks.
Okay, sorry.
Does it matter, Rob? I mean, are you at all? I don't want to say biased because that's not quite the right word, but are you influenced by knowing that this chart is Bitcoin versus it being a stock? If you saw the same, where you saw it go practically up to 20,000 6 months ago, and then now languishing here at 6,000.
I mean, as a technician, I like to think I'm relatively.
You're agnostic.
I'd like to think I'm agnostic. I mean, price is price. And again, when we talked about Bitcoin a couple of weeks back, it had to get to those levels. It didn't. It failed. It took out key support. You now have a series of lower lows. So I think you have to err on the side of caution.
Thank you, Robert. Robert Sluymer of Fundstrat. I'm going to ask you that question now.
I'd like to think I'm handsome as well, and that ain't true either. No, if you look at it, if you play the game that you want to play and just looked at it, the market does. We had a bounce off of 6,000, traded up to 9, failed. Well, here we are. Market doesn't give you a long time to sell the high, as we learned in December, and it doesn't give you all that much time to buy the low. And we've been here for quite some time. Leads me to believe maybe we sell off. And one other thing, I don't know, but maybe this sell-off in China, which is in a bear market, maybe that's affecting Bitcoin. Who knows?
But you're not a technician.
I'm an armchair
and the reason I bring that up,
armchair technician.
but I think
he's a tarot card
He's
reader.
feeding in news, which is, I think, very important, which is probably why it goes lower.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.